I am arguing this matter not from the point of view of center succeeding or state succeeding. How 370 operated on the people of Jammu and Kashmir because of 370. That's what, my lord, my attempt is. In Article 19, please note this, my lord, this is something really shocking. And for 25 years, this continued. So, one, you alienate those who do not fall within the artificially created definition of permanent residence. Second, you alienate those who belong to scheduled tribe. Lord, the citizens apply fundamental rights against the state, and now the legislature would decide what are the reasonable restrictions.
Other provisions of Part 3 were applied without any modification.
There is a modification.
35C is there.
35C, my lord. And that is more draconian, my lord, if I am permitted to say so. Because that directly affected the personal liberty of the entire population of Jammu and Kashmir.
Preventive detention.
Preventive detention. 21 and 22 would not apply. It's unthinkable in any constitutionally governed civilized society that Article 21 and 22 would not apply. Please see, my lord, Article 35C was added. India's constitution was amended by the government of India in consultation with the state government, adding this sub-article. And my lord, most interesting part which I found.
Mr. Solicitor, you are appearing for the government of India, which did all this.
Yes, my lord, I am saying.
In constitutional theory, the government of India is a perpetual entity.
Succession. My lord, the government of India has a right to say that this ought not to have been done and correct itself, which we did, and I am justifying that correction. So I am not saying that government and this government. It's our government.
Because in constitutional doctrine, the government of India is one perpetual entity.
Perpetual entity with perpetual succession, my lord. And therefore, my lord, the justification, my lord, which I am trying to give is that the mistake of past should not befall on the future generations. And that's why what we did in those days, I am justifying, my lord, I am justifying our undoing it in 2019. My lord, one very interesting angle I found out, my lord, while researching this on this question. My lord, in Premnath Kaul, some person was, Premnath Kaul was detained under preventive detention law. He approached this honorable court under Article 32, challenging his detention. The learned Attorney General, then, my lord, appearing for the government, took the contention that 32 petition is not maintainable because it would lie only for violation of fundamental rights, and for Jammu and Kashmir, Article 21 and 22 are not fundamental rights. Fortunately, my lord, the court did not go into that question and decided it on merits. I'm sorry, Sampath Prakash, not Premnath Kaul. That was, my lord, the position of the 35C. Fundamental rights, your lordships have said 21, 22 is the heart and soul of the entire chapter 3. That was not applicable. It could be dispensed with while making a law for detention. Then, my lord, 35A was added. Please come to, my lord, page 56. And this, my lord, if we were to believe, resulted in several consequences. Please see 35A, amended in Constitution of India only to be applied in one state of Jammu and Kashmir. One artificial class was created. A separate category of permanent residents was created, and any law which provides for this kind of special privileges would not be hit either by Article 14, Article 19 or any part of the Constitution. And that demarcating line from which date a person should be treated to be a permanent resident was, I think,
5A challenged on the ground that it violates the basic structure.
35A? It is. There are 5 petitions pending.
No, but that's before that it was never challenged.
They were challenged at the relevant point of time, could never be decided. Lord, kindly see, my lord, the impact of this. The cutoff date was, my lord, I am told 1927. So whoever came in Jammu and Kashmir in 1927 were permanent.
That's the law. What is the provision itself? It says it not. The judicial scrutiny is therefore prevented because.
Now the impact was, for example, people from Jammu and Kashmir, people from Pak occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Pak occupied Kashmir, POK, were driven out, both Hindus and Muslims, but they were driven out in 47 during those raids. They are not permanent residents. They were not permanent residents till 2019. There were large number of Safai Karmacharis who have filed a petition, my lord, or intervention application, who were brought from other states to do, my lord, the manual work of cleanliness, etc. They are not permanent residents. They are not getting any of these benefits. Despite living for decades together, no person, my lord, beyond outside Jammu and Kashmir can acquire property, meaning thereby no investment.
So from this point of view,
Yes.
I was just looking at the 1954 order, CO 48.
Yes.
That applied the entirety of Part 3
Yes.
and then made certain modifications. Therefore, Article 16 applied, Article 19 applied. But now see what happens. If you look at the CO, it applies Part 3. That is Volume 3. You get it at Volume 3, page
14 months.
page 14.
Yes.
Volume 3, page 14. But you bring in Article 35A, which creates an exception in 3 areas. Employment under the state government, 2, acquisition of immovable property, 3, settlement in the state, leave aside scholarships. So though Part 3 is made applicable, by the same vein, when you introduce Article 35A, you are taking away the 3 rights, 3 fundamental rights, 16.1, 19,
14.
and 16.1, then you are taking away the right to acquire immovable property, which then was a fundamental right under 19.1F and Article 31. And third, settlement in the state, which is a fundamental right under 19.1E.
Right.
So though the Constitution expressly made the provisions of Article 19 applicable, which would include these 3 rights, and Article 16, by enacting 35A, you virtually took away the fundamental rights.
Employment is also right to life.
Right, but there's a direct right under 16.1.
No, employment is a separate right would fall within separate category of right to life.
No, that itself was not taken away. What was taken away was employment under the state government. Because what 35A did was, it says conferring on such permanent residents any special rights and privileges or imposing upon any other persons, any restrictions. So it does both things. You can give special rights to residents and you can take away that right insofar as non-residents are concerned. Employment under the state government. Employment under the state government is expressly covered by Article 16.1 because 16.1 says there shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters relating to employment under the state. That includes the union as well as the states. So while on the one hand, Article 16.1 was preserved, 35A directly took away that fundamental right and granted immunity to any challenge on the ground that it would deprive you of a fundamental right which is protected by 16. Likewise, 19 recognizes the right to reside, settle in any part of the country.
Right to acquire property.
And then, property then was 19.
Now it is 300.
So all 3 fundamental rights were essentially taken away by 35A, which was brought in by CO 48.
It continued till 2019.
Power of judicial review was taken away.
Judicial review was taken. So it is beyond 9th schedule. Almost put at par, beyond the 9th schedule also. And this continued till 2019, till the impugned resolution, impugned CO was passed. Therefore, my lord, I am respectfully urging that please look at the matter from the point of view of people of Jammu and Kashmir. Something which is impugned before your lordships is a constitutional exercise of power which confers fundamental rights, which applies the entire constitution, which brings the Jammu and Kashmir people at par with their rest of brothers and sisters, and Lord applies all laws which are welfare legislations, and I have the list which was not applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And the very unfortunate part is, and this is really, my lord, a troubling part, that till now the people were convinced by those, my lord, who were supposed to guide them, that this is not a hindrance in your progress. This is your privilege. You fight. Nobody can take away 370 from you. That is the most unfortunate part. And your lordships have, my lord, at least 2 major political, I'm not being political, major political parties before your lordships defending 370, including 35A. When your lordships ask, what did you lose out of it? There is no list. This is what the people rightly lost. They got their fundamental right 35A goes. They got their fundamental right 35C goes. And I will come to, my lord, several other, my lord, provisions which were working against the interest of the people, but they were convinced. Now they have realized what they have lost. Because now, because of 35A not being there, investments are coming. Now, because of, my lord, the law, I'll show, my lord, from the Reorganization Act, because of the policing being now with the center, my lord, tourism has started. Jammu and Kashmir traditionally didn't have much of big industries. They were cottage industries, small industries, etc. Main, Lord, the source of income was tourism. Now tourism has started. By now, Lord, 16 lakh tourists have come. New hotels are coming up, which gives employment generations for the two large number of people, right from Tangawala to Lord, officials. I'll come to that. So.
The scope,
Not a modification at all.
the scope of expression, exceptions and modifications
That's right.
will also.
So virtually you created a new article in the
A
constitution.
new provision.
That's right. It's not a modification.
It's not a modification. Therefore, I respectfully urge 35A is creating a new provision in Constitution of India only to be applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Now, my lord, if a lady marries outside Jammu and Kashmir, she loses permanent residency. There are several such things, my lord. People coming from West Pakistan who were, my lord, settled down from decades.
The first part was struck down by a 3 judges bench of the J&K High Court.
By the High Court, my lord. I'm sorry, I was not aware of it.
In terms of you, 3 judges bench.
I'm told that children will not get. So whatever, my lord. That's now.
Others say children will not get it. It was a nebulous situation which we get.
Now, my lord, kindly come to page 57. And my lord, the argument was that why did you not consult ABCD? My lord, out of ABCD, ABC is proclaiming that 370 is our right. Official, that's the official stand. So leave it at that. Please come to page 57. Now, my lord, use of mechanism under Article 367 for the interpretation of Article 370 for the first time. But any provision of the Constitution can be amended by executive action or constituent action, my lord. No, without bringing the parliament. Therefore, my lord, 367 is a legitimate use.